Hi guys, and welcome to the last video before going to the World Jigsaw Puzzle Championship 2024. So the same as last year, I basically went through all the 500-piece puzzles I've got in my collection right now. So there is a few more this year. Last year I had 11, this year I've got 14, so it's a bit more, not too much, but it's just good to see the difference because I went through all the statistics. So I've got everything on my post-it notes. And I just wanted to, oh, which one is it? So last year's statistics of doing all the puzzles before going to the competition, I did 11 puzzles in 13 hours and 8 minutes, which made me average 1 hour, 11 minutes per puzzle. So those are the last year's statistics. Obviously, I can't give you this year's statistics just yet because then it might spoil how I did. So I'm just gonna go one puzzle at a time. I sort of like put them into categories. So I've got Clementoni, I've got Ravensburger, and then just the random brands that were left. And I'm just gonna start with the first puzzle now. The first one is a 500-piece puzzle by Clementoni, and the title of this one is Budapest. As you can see, I don't have this puzzle with me because it was just borrowed, so I already returned it. But that puzzle was interesting because it was, well, mainly one color. Well, I know there was like shades and like gradients, but it was basically one color. One thing that I forgot to mention earlier, so you know I said I've got everything on post-it notes, so just quickly showing you. So what I did, because that's what I talked about in the puzzle haul video, just the one that came out before this one, is that I did predictions of how long it's gonna take me to finish each puzzle because I just wanted to see how wrong I was. And I usually think I'm gonna finish quicker than what I actually do, like in general. And now I put the times down, and I've got proof that I put the times down before I actually did the puzzles. So I'm gonna tell you how long I thought it's gonna take me before doing the puzzle, and then I'm gonna give you the time of how long it actually took me after I did the puzzle. So this puzzle, I thought it's gonna take me 1 hour and 25 minutes. So let's see how I did. I have my usual technique of flipping all the pieces over and doing the frame and then just, you know, grabbing anything that stands out. So you're gonna see it's quite repetitive with every puzzle that I do because this is what I figured out last year that is the best technique for me to use. But with this puzzle, even though it looked really hard on the picture, when I started doing it, there was actually quite a lot of small details that really helped knowing where something goes. And even the blue pieces that were left, there was so much gradient in it that it was quite easy to see the difference in the shading. And it also helped that there was variety of pieces because after I did shape sorting it became a lot easier to figure out where something goes. And it did slow down with the sky pieces, but overall I was quite pleased with my time. So 1 hour, 11 minutes and 32 seconds is how long it took me to finish the puzzle, which is basically what I was averaging last year. So far it seems like no improvement. I already know where this is going, I'm just teasing you now. Anyway, I was actually surprised with how quick the puzzle went because there was one thing that I started to learn lately when puzzling is that I got a lot more oriented on the detail because before I was always going by the color that stands out, but now it's more like smaller stuff, and it's becoming so much easier to puzzle the more I focus on the detail. And I think I'm starting to understand people when they say, oh, this puzzle is so detailed. That was actually the thing that happened at the Newmarket competition that I went to, because the guy was like, oh my god, this puzzle is so detailed, I love it. And I'm like, this puzzle is so busy. And it's like, you can already see just by the way you say it, like for me it's busy, it's too much information, but for him it was like, oh, it's so much detail, there's so much you can go from. And I think they ended up being quite fast. I think they might have won pairs, and it explains why, because I'm really not good with busy puzzles, but I think I'm starting to learn how to see details more. I'm usually really good with colors. That's why semi-finals was so good for me last year, because it was color oriented, and with details I'm still, you know, working on it, but I think I'm getting better. Anyway, let's move on to the next puzzle. Up next is a 500-piece puzzle by Clementoni, and the title of this one is Seychelles. I absolutely love this puzzle, okay, because there was a few that I had last year and I was dreading them because I'm like, there's nothing happening. But what I realized is it's really nice gradients and it's really easy to just follow the pattern and stuff. So I was really looking forward to putting this puzzle together. Okay, my time prediction, 1 hour. Yeah, I got a bit cocky, didn't I? I was right though. As soon as I flipped all the pieces over, it was really obvious what's the sky pieces, what's the sea pieces, and all the gradients were different, and even the sand was standing out so much as well. The only thing I would say was more difficult with this puzzle, not even the rocks, but the top section with like the palm trees and the rocks combined, because you just didn't have a big section of like clear color. Everything was mixed together, so it was difficult to know what goes together. But once I finished that, the sky went so quickly because it was just, the gradient was so obvious. And it definitely helped that I had the daylight outside because it just made it a bit more obvious. 1 hour, 4 minutes and 59 seconds, which is 5 minutes off from what I predicted. But this is good. Like, okay, yeah, it took me a bit longer than I expected, but that is still my average time. I don't even know what my average time is, but it's about like, it goes from 50 minutes to 110 usually. I would say that's my average time, because it depends on the puzzle as well. It depends on the weather. The weather changes so much, I'm not even joking. But it's sunny today. Beautiful, the summer is back. When I was doing the puzzles, we had the biggest storms. Like, I was puzzling in the morning and it looked like I was puzzling at night because I literally had nothing but my lights, because it was so dark outside. It was really bad. I'm not using that as an excuse for my times on some puzzles. I know it makes a difference. Everyone knows that. That's why when you have a competition, everyone has the same lighting. It doesn't matter if the lighting is good or bad. Well, you want good lighting, obviously, but it just matters that everyone has the same conditions. Yeah, anyway, I like the puzzle. I've really enjoyed putting it together, probably because it was, you know, the second puzzle as well, and I was completely rested and it wasn't a big deal. I was doing like, on average, 2 to 3 puzzles a day. I think 2 days I had 4 puzzles, if I'm not mistaken. I forgot, because I was doing them the whole weekend. Every time I had like an hour to squeeze a puzzle in, I would squeeze a puzzle in. So yeah, let's move on to the next one. The next puzzle is a 500-piece puzzle by Clementoni, and the title of this one is Captain Vancouver. Okay, this is one puzzle I definitely did not look forward to put together, because, I mean, there are different colors and, you know, you can see the shades or gradient or whatever, but it just feels like everything's everywhere. And that really bothers me, because if you see, you've got yellow here, you've got orange all across. Okay, you can see the difference between the sea and the sky because there's different texture, but it's just orange is all across. You've got grays everywhere. So to me, there's just, I just prefer sections. I know I'm a bit picky when it comes to puzzles, and that's why it's good to practice on every picture, because you do puzzles that you normally wouldn't do, and then you just learn how to deal with stuff like that. So my prediction for this puzzle was 1 hour 15, and let's see how I did. One thing I really like about this puzzle is that as soon as I flipped the pieces over, it was quite obvious to see the difference in the colors, and it was easy to eliminate certain stuff because it was standing out so much, which sometimes, well, a lot of the times isn't the case with the puzzles. Usually I have to look for the small details, like small changes in the color, but with this one it was quite obvious. But after the initial obvious stuff were used, it wasn't that simple anymore. I know that I said it was quite obvious to see the difference between the sea and the sky, but when you have all the pieces out and it's just a mess everywhere, it wasn't that easy to find all the orange pieces. Then I flipped the puzzle over. I was doing that quite a lot in this round because, I don't know, it just felt a lot easier to flip the puzzle and just work it from the top. I used to reach over all the time, but it would be really painful for my back, so I decided to try this new technique when I just flip the puzzle when I come to the top. 1 hour, 11 minutes and 19 seconds, which is 4 minutes less than I predicted, which never happens. I think, no, I'm not gonna say that I lied about my prediction or that I made them higher, because I always get them wrong, but I actually went by what I thought it's gonna take me, so I was quite surprised that this one took me less. And technically it's still in my, like, average time, well, at least like last year's average. It was definitely an enjoyable puzzle, not as much as the last one, but it's Clementoni, which means that the pieces are good, so that always helps. The next one is also a 500-piece puzzle by Clementoni, and the title of this one is Stairs. I absolutely love this puzzle. I wanted to have it for so long because it was supposed to be one of the battle puzzles, but I think they couldn't get it in New Zealand and Australia, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway, I was so happy when I got my hands on it because they don't sell it in Slovenia, you have to order it online, but many people have bought it because I think there are like 2 or even 3 circling around the puzzle group, and I have one. So I'm really happy about that. Anyway, my prediction for this puzzle was 55 minutes. I don't know why, because again, I think I got a bit cocky, but it's got so many colors, and I think it's going to be quite easy to separate. So yeah, that was my prediction. Let's see how it happened. As opposed to the last puzzle, this one, when I flipped the pieces over, nothing really stood out. I mean, there was a few pieces that stood out, but it was so little of them, I didn't really know where to start, because it had different colors of the flooring, and once it was lighter, somewhere it was dark. There were the stairs, and some of them were bigger, some of them were smaller. So I thought it's going to be really easy to work those sections, but I quickly realized that it's really difficult to eliminate those pieces because they're too similar to each other. So I had to do the railing first. And actually the railing went really fast, I think. 58 minutes and 7 seconds, which is 3 minutes more than what I predicted. But I think it's still good, it's under 1 hour, so I'm quite happy with that. I think every time I get under 1 hour, I'm like, it's like a small win. So this is definitely a small win. I enjoyed the puzzle. It was definitely more difficult. Well, I'm not saying it's difficult, it's just more than I predicted. With this puzzle specifically, what was the most difficult thing for me was that one piece had multiple colors on it. And then you're like, which one do I prioritize? Which one do I focus on? What do I begin with? So yeah, it was a bit of a rainbow mess. So these are all Clementoni puzzles done now. I don't even know why I'm like piling them, but it just made sense. So these are the other puzzles that I also did. So I'm just gonna put them to the front, but we are gonna move to the Ravensburger section now because this is the order I was doing the puzzles in. And are we ready for the first puzzle and see how I did? The first one is a 500-piece puzzle by Ravensburger, and the title of this one is Forest Dragon. So the puzzle we've all been looking forward to doing, right? Not. Anyway, my prediction for this puzzle was 130 plus. So it means more than 90 minutes that I'm not going to be able to finish it in 90 minutes. And then I changed it to like 135 because I thought like 130 plus is not really a time. And I thought that's plenty of time to finish the puzzle. So let's see the tape. I forgot to say that I went to my dad's to wait for delivery, and the first mistake I did was putting the puzzle together on a tablecloth. Because even just flipping the pieces over and sorting the fray took me 1 minute longer than for any other puzzles that I've done so far, because I just wasn't able to push the pieces around. And then after I did the frame, I didn't really know what else to do because it's just nothing was standing out. I thought I wanted to do like I did the small egg, and then any other thing that I could see was the green, but there was just so much green because there were so many dragons. And the one thing that was quite easy to do was the wing. After that, it just went really quickly downhill, and I was just checking the time, and there is a point when you realize that there is no way that you're gonna be able to finish the puzzle in time, and you just kind of give up on it. I have just been moving this puzzle around like nothing. I forgot that the puzzle is half assembled inside. So yeah, I did not finish the puzzle. So these are all the pieces that are left. And then the rest is just like placed in the box. Because I want to finish it at one point. It's just, you know, when I got to 1 hour, I wrote it down. At 1 hour, I had 187 pieces in. And honestly, if I was doing it for another half hour, I'm not sure if I put another 50 pieces in. It just went so slow. And because I had so many other puzzles to assemble still, I thought it's no point, because either way I'm not going to be able to finish it in 90 minutes. So what's the point of just like wasting those 30 minutes just to get stressed and, you know, annoyed with the puzzle? Is no point. This is one of the puzzles that is just not meant to be sped run. That's it. The fact that I got to 1 hour and I was okay to just putting the puzzle away, I think that's a win for me. Because usually I wouldn't be able to do that, because in my head was like, no, you have to finish the puzzle, you have to speed run it all the way through. No, you don't. That's all I'm gonna say. The next puzzle is a 500-piece puzzle by Ravensburger, and the title of this one is Trendy. I got this puzzle from Carolina, and honestly, I did not look forward to doing it. My time prediction for this puzzle was 1 hour and 25 minutes because it's just one thing I've learned with illustrations like that, there is no gradient. And the reason why I learned that is because I went through orange hell last year at the competition, and it's like, there is no gradient. And when I saw this puzzle, I'm like, there is no gradient. This puzzle is gonna be so difficult. I also did that at my dad's because I was still waiting for delivery. And because I learned from the first puzzle that you cannot do a puzzle on the tablecloth, and the table was not the right color, it's a yellow table. So I was like, I couldn't really take the tablecloth off and work on it. So I went on the floor, and it was interesting. It's been a while since I puzzled like I used to, you know, on my bed. Good old times. It's actually really interesting because you have a lot more view over the puzzle because you can just lean over and you can just see so much more, and your back doesn't start aching. You never have to stand up. It's basically almost like always standing up over the puzzle, but you're sitting down. So in a way, did that make me faster? I don't know. What do you think? I genuinely do not know. This is the only puzzle I did, like not sitting down, that I was doing it on the floor. So let's see how it went. So like I mentioned, even in the beginning, you're just sitting down and you manage to flip all the pieces over. I always stand up when I'm flipping the pieces over. So you can already see that just being on the floor has the same effect as standing up, which in a sense is maybe better for puzzling. It was quite comfortable for me to puzzle. I did put a blanket down for myself. Anyway, the puzzle started off really quick because it was so easy to see the difference. I just picked one color and just went with it, and it was quite easy to begin the puzzle. But then once I had all pink and purple pieces left, then it became a bit more complicated, and it's exactly what I was talking about with, you know, the gradient. There was literally no gradient. With all that said though, it was still very interesting for me to see how quickly I managed to finish it, because I thought it's gonna take me quite a bit longer than I expected. 1 hour, 11 minutes and 47 seconds, which is more than 13 minutes quicker than what I expected. I don't know what's happening, but that's exactly what I was talking about. I think I'm gonna start doing that for every puzzle and see if I can get like within the 5 minutes, because I think like 5-minute frame in each direction, or like 10-minute frame, that's good. Anything more than that, you don't really know how to predict which puzzles to choose, which is exactly why we chose Orange Hell last year. So I think it's a good practice to kind of guess how long it's gonna take you to do the puzzle, and then do the puzzle and then see the difference, because you kind of want to get it right, because then when you have puzzles at a competition that you have to pick, you know what to pick. Anyway, yeah, it was definitely easier because the sections, I know I said there is no gradient, but there wasn't really that many sections that you would really need gradient, because there was always something happening. There was just a few of like the bump pieces they were all the same color, and this is where the gradient would be helpful. But everyone else, you had any lines going through anything, was really helpful when completing the puzzle. So it wasn't actually that bad, to be fair. But also on the other hand, it might have been quicker because I was doing it on the floor. But I don't know, there is no guarantee, I genuinely do not know. The next puzzle is a 500-piece puzzle by Ravensburger, and the title of this one is Wild Coast. So this puzzle looks quite similar to the Seychelles one that I had, but there is one big difference, is it's not divided as well as the other one, because the other one had majority of the puzzle. It was like 2/3 of the puzzle was just like the sea and the sky, but with this one is more like half and half. So from that sense, I predicted it's gonna take me longer. So I predicted 1 hour and 15 for this puzzle, because it just felt like there was quite a lot of nonsense going on here. Okay, this puzzle absolutely flew in the beginning. I have no words. There was a point when I was just sitting there doing the puzzle and I was like, is that how Alejandro feels? Because any piece I picked up, it just went straight in. And then we got to the fun part. And this is one of the puzzles when I just went like, are you kidding me? It went so quickly. It's almost like I was doing a different puzzle. And with this puzzle, it was really important to focus on the smallest details. So I realized that I had to start with the flowers, because they were actually the only thing that was standing out. And then when I had less pieces, it was a lot easier to see the difference between the greens as well, and then between the rocks. And it's just that process of like knowing what to choose first is really important. It can really slow you down or make you a lot quicker. 1 hour, 9 minutes and 33 seconds, which is within the 5-minute time frame that is allowed to make it like a good prediction, if I can say that. So this was good. It took me less time than expected, but I've really enjoyed putting it together until I got to that part. But I can see with myself is like when I think that the puzzle is gonna be too difficult, like I lose my puzzle mojo, if I can say that, but there's a point when I'm just like, oh, what to do now? And I get really stuck with it. And this is where it becomes really helpful to just focus on small details, which is exactly what I did with flowers. And after I did that, everything just flew off to that. So I think it just goes to show with like, for instance, Alejandro that I mentioned, because he's so quick, and Kristen as well. They probably already predict what they're gonna have to put together, or like they focus on the details more. When I'm like, I just do one section and it's like, oh, what now? And then I have to think about it, and then it happens 2-3 times maybe when I'm doing the puzzle, and it takes quite a bit of time, and a lot of the times I change my mind as well. So I think this is where it's important to do as many puzzles as you can, because you learn those things, you learn from your mistakes, and that's how you improve your overall time. The next one is also a 500-piece puzzle by Ravensburger, and the title of this one is Looking for Queen. So this puzzle looked quite, well, it didn't look difficult to me, but it's just a lot of the same color, so I predicted 1 hour 15 for it, just because it felt like everything is dark. Even though this one does have gradient, if you can see. So in that sense, I thought it's gonna be a bit easier, but still it was quite dark, so I didn't expect to do that well with that puzzle. I have to admit that I was actually wrong with this puzzle, because as soon as I flipped the pieces over, there were so many things standing out there. I think it's the only puzzle in the entire video when I didn't start with the frame, because it was just so obvious to do other stuff first. And after I done the frame, it was still, there was so much gradient, there was so much going on in the puzzle that it was really easy to just keep putting the pieces in. It got a little bit more complicated towards the end, obviously, but still, like I'm saying, the gradient was so obvious that I didn't even need to do shape sorting. And I think this is a true indicator when puzzle is easy, because when you do shape sorting, it means that the picture doesn't help you anymore and you have to go by shapes. 55 minutes and 38 seconds. So I got this prediction so wrong that it hurts. It's like I got it wrong for 20 minutes. But it's okay, as long as I thought it's gonna take me longer than it took me less, that's good. If I think it's gonna take me less and then it takes me longer, I just get annoyed. Because that's the same thing with expectations, you know. Expectations ruin everything. But this one is good. This one was like in the other way. This one was so good. The puzzle was so easy and enjoyable. Like, I genuinely have no words, because I wasn't looking forward to doing this one that much because it's quite dark, but it just flew. I mean, it didn't break my personal best, but with that puzzle, it was just something else, because I'm really good with shapes and it was a circular puzzle as well. So I don't think I would be able to beat my personal best on like a square puzzle, I don't think, because that one has so many specific shapes and I'm really good with shapes. So yeah. Have I just spoiled some stuff for you? Oopsie, let's move on to the next puzzle. The next one is a 500-piece puzzle by Ravensburger, and the title of this one is Cave Dive. So this is the puzzle that I swapped with Vicky when I was in England, and she gave me the 2 puzzles so we can practice with Donna Louise in Spain. And I wasn't sure, like, should I do them, should I not do them, because Donna Louise picked this puzzle, so it's not really one of my favorite pictures. I don't know, there's a lot going on. There are a lot of colors all across the puzzle, and it's just not an easy puzzle for me to separate, I don't think. The prediction I had on this puzzle was 1 hour though. What was I thinking? As I expected, as soon as I turned the pieces over, nothing stood out. So obviously I was gonna start with the frame, and then I just went by colors, because this is like the easiest way for me to puzzle. But there was one thing with this puzzle that really confused me, is the fact that the picture was turning around with the frame. So the top I had to build upside down, and it confused me, because when I saw some pieces and I thought, oh, this is supposed to be going in that direction, and it was flipped. So that was a little bit confusing. But then with this puzzle again, it was really important to focus on the details, because there were so many little fish with different colors that once I started to focus on those things, it was really easy to find where something goes. 1 hour, 7 minutes and 27 seconds, which is not in the good prediction time. I don't know what I was thinking when I thought it's gonna take me 1 hour only, because even looking at the picture, I did not want to do it. I guess it's just because it's bright. I think there's like a trick in my head. When a puzzle is dark, I automatically assume it's gonna be more difficult. But when it's lighter, I guess it's just, I don't know, maybe it's easier for me to see colors. But obviously that's not the case, because the other one was a lot quicker than that one. I enjoyed the puzzle though, because since I started focusing on the small details, it's just, yeah, you experience the puzzle in a different way. So in that sense, it feels like I'm getting absorbed in the puzzle more. I'm definitely changing the way of puzzling. And the last Ravensburger puzzle is also 500 pieces, and the title of this one is Purrfect Piece. This is the last Ravensburger puzzle that I've done, and I think it's good to practice on Ravensburger puzzles because of the cut, but it's always good to check other images as well, because, you know, you want to practice on all variations. I was really looking forward to doing this puzzle, to be completely honest with you, because I had archaeologist desks at my first ever competition puzzle last year, and it scared me because everything was all over the place and there were so many colors and the gradient wasn't that obvious. I think this one has a lot more obvious gradients and a lot bigger pieces. So I predicted 55 minutes for this puzzle, because in my head was like, it has to be quicker than archaeologist desk because it looks easier. So let's see if I was right. As soon as I flipped the puzzle over, there was no question but for me to start doing the frame. But already when I was flipping the pieces over, there is one thing I've noticed with this puzzle that I didn't notice before, is that I already started to be aware of textures and colors. Normally I would just unawarely flip the pieces over and just focus on, oh, where's the frame, where's the frame? But with this puzzle, some pieces were standing out, and as soon as I finished the frame, I already knew what I want to go for. And I think this is something that is really helpful, and I think this is probably something that Alejandro and Kristen do. 50 minutes and 59 seconds, which is 4 minutes less than what I expected, which is, again, sweet victory. I've really enjoyed that puzzle. It did get complicated with the cat, but everything else was so enjoyable. This is the only puzzle that I've done, and I know this is a little bit of a spoiler, but the only puzzle that I've done where I actually already knew what I'm gonna assemble next, when I was still assembling something before. Does that make sense? And I think it shows on the time. That's all I'm gonna say. It's like, it was 50 minutes, like, that, for me that's quick. Like I said, my average is from 50 to like 1 hour 10, which means that this is a really good time for me. I'm really, really happy with this puzzle. Thank you, Vicky. I love it. Anyway, I'm gonna do this puzzle again with Donna Louise in Spain soon. So exciting. Yeah, I absolutely love this puzzle. And now I think it's gonna be time to move on to the last section of the puzzles, which are basically completely random brands. And some of the brands I've never done before. So let's see what we've got. The first one is a 529 piece puzzle by Dodo Socks, and the title of this one is Kyo. I got this puzzle from Carolina a while ago, and I wasn't sure if I want to speedrun it because, well, it's got 529 pieces. But regardless, more than the number, I was worried about the picture, because this, again, is the illustration that doesn't have any gradient. So I was absolutely scared of doing, well, I wasn't scared of the puzzle, I was just like, I had no idea how long it's gonna take me to do it. My prediction for this puzzle was 1 hour and 20 minutes, because it just seemed like it's gonna take me a while to do it. One thing I've noticed with this puzzle first was that the pieces were a little bit bigger, so it felt a little bit cramped at the table when I was putting the puzzle together. And also another thing that I've realized with this puzzle quite early on, it's exactly what happened with the Trendy puzzle as well. It's where I thought that because it doesn't have any gradient, it's gonna be really easy to put together. But really there was so many different colors that were standing out, and there was difference in the shading, even though one shade of the color didn't necessarily have gradient in it. There was still so many different shades, like even of the green. So it was actually really easy to put the puzzle together. One place where I got a bit stuck was definitely with the sky, because there was just yellow, and yellow didn't have any gradient in it. So, but it definitely helped because it had the clouds in it, so it was easy to separate them and just fill them in first, and then just fill in the gaps that were left. 1 hour, 11 minutes, 11 seconds. What a great time. I mean, like, a nice time. Still a great time though, I think. I did this puzzle for the first time, well, the brand for the first time, and I actually didn't know what to expect. The pieces were a little bit, I don't know how to explain, but it's almost like the sound of the pieces when I was flipping them over, it was almost like plasticky. I do think they're cardboard, I might be wrong, I don't know. It's just, it was like a different type of cardboard, if that makes sense. But it was actually a really enjoyable puzzle to put together. It had all variety of shapes, which is also another thing that I was worried about because I didn't know the brand. So maybe somewhere deep down I was also scared it's gonna be all ribbon grit cut pieces, which wasn't the case. So I was really pleased with this puzzle, to be completely honest with you. The next puzzle is a 500-piece puzzle by Libelut, and the title of this one is Renaissance. This is the puzzle that was used at the last individual competition in Slovenia that I wasn't able to attend because, where was I? Oh, I got really ill, I remember now. It was just after England, I remember, because when I swapped the puzzle with Carolina, we met up for a drink in the city centre, and by the end of the drink I started to get like a really bad cough attack. So yeah, that's why I couldn't attend the competition. But regardless, I've got the puzzle now and I can compare my results. I've got all the results on my post-it notes, so I'm going to be able to compare my time and see how would I place. Because this time we had a girl and she smashed it. She was so fast. I was like, heads down. So I really want to see if I can get anywhere close to her. And my prediction for this puzzle is 1 hour and 15 minutes. Let's see how I did. When I started flipping the pieces over, I've realized that there's actually quite a lot of gradient in this puzzle, which did not look the case on the box, and I was quite happy about that. For some reason I decided to start with the puzzle upside down because, like I said, I don't like to reach over, and the green pieces were standing out to me a lot more than the brown ones. That's why I decided to do it. And to be completely honest with you, when you're doing something that doesn't have a direction, it doesn't really matter if you do the puzzle upside down, because literally it does not mess with your brain. So I think this is making my puzzling experiences a lot more enjoyable because I'm not afraid to flip the puzzle around anymore. And obviously when I puzzle pairs, I usually puzzle upside down. So I think I got really comfortable doing the puzzle upside down. And I think that makes me a lot quicker overall as well. So this puzzle also has a really good time. It was 1 hour, 20 minutes and 0 seconds. I love when those things happen. Anyway, let me check the results. So the first place was 1 hour, 9 minutes and 50 seconds. The second place was 1 hour, 23 minutes and 40 seconds. And the third place was 1 hour, 32 minutes and 40 seconds. So yeah, I would place second with this one, which means I did not get close to the girl. She did amazing. Like, I absolutely love the puzzle. I thought it's gonna be really bad because it doesn't really have that much going on. Yeah, you can't see the full picture. It doesn't have that much going on because it's just literally 2 colors. But when I was doing the puzzle, it wasn't actually that bad. And that's the one thing that I mentioned in the beginning, is with the weather. This is when we had like all day of storms, and I did all 3 puzzles, and I'm not even gonna talk about the other 2 because I was on the phone with Donna Louise with those 2 puzzles because we had so much to talk about and sort for Spain and everything, and I'm like, I know I'm speed puzzling, it doesn't matter because we need to talk. So we basically spent an hour and a half on the phone when I was doing the 2 puzzles, so that definitely slowed me down a little bit. But it doesn't really matter because for me it was more to experience the images, to learn how to see the details and everything. Like I said, the time is not that important for me right now. That said though, this is the first puzzle so far that actually was above my average from last year. Everything up until now was, the slowest one was 1 hour 11 and this one is 1 hour 20. So I don't know how much that's gonna ruin. I mean, I know, you don't know how much that's gonna ruin my overall average, but you're gonna find out soon enough. We don't have that many puzzles to go anymore. The next one is a 500-piece puzzle by Janette, and the title of this one is Mystic Panther. Yes, I got a title for this puzzle because they wrote it in the comments. Apparently they have the titles on the website. I did not go check the website. Oops. But it doesn't actually have the titles on the box. So we know it's Mystic Panther. We don't have to look for the name anymore. But one thing is, apparently it's a French brand. It does say made in Poland, but apparently it's a French brand and it's called, it's supposed to be called, I think, Janette. Like the D is supposed to be silent and then the J is like deja vu. So Janette. French people, please correct me. This might be really bad. Like, I'm trying. I read the comments and I really try, but you know, I'm limited with my language knowledge. Anyway, I was really looking forward to putting this puzzle together because it's bright and colourful and it's got a lot of section to separate, even though it did look a bit more difficult because it's got a lot of, like, I don't know what the colour even is. It's like bluish / greenish of the background. So yeah, in that sense, I thought it's gonna be a bit more difficult, but I would still place it in like easier puzzles. So I put a prediction of 1 hour and 5 minutes for this puzzle just because it didn't seem that difficult to me. After I flipped all the pieces over, it soon became quite obvious that the pink is the color that stands out the most, which was not what I wanted because there was quite a lot of pink and I had to focus on the smaller sections. So in that sense, it was a little bit more difficult to find the pieces I was looking for because there was just so much pink and I just didn't know what to do. So I had to eliminate the pink pieces so it was easier to actually see the rest of the colors. And after that, I think I became quite a lot quicker. Obviously, Donna Louise was annoying me when I was puzzling. No, just kidding. I love Donna Louise. It was just nice to puzzle and be able to focus on the smallest details, because then even when I started focusing on the small details, I realized that even the pink wasn't that bad because it had 3 different shades. But in the beginning, when you just see the pieces from afar, everything just like, you just see the color. So that's why it's really important to focus on the details. And I know I keep saying the same thing, but it's so true. 1 hour, 14 minutes and 20 seconds, which is a bad prediction because we are 10 minutes off, and in a bad way, not in a good way. Like, not, oh, that just went the opposite direction. I meant, like, you know what I meant. Anyway, I absolutely love the puzzle. It was the first time I did this brand and I have nothing to say, because I think when you speedrun the puzzle, it's a true indicator if a brand is good or not. Because when you speedrun a puzzle, you can see when you get stuck or if you're having misfits or stuff like that. And I cannot say that that was the case with either of the puzzles there. You know, I tried for the first time today, which is definitely good. And the next one is the 500-piece puzzle by High Puzzle, and the title of this one is Exotic Garden. Last but not least, but don't run away from me because I've got something important to tell you, or rather to remind you. So just make sure to watch until the end. Anyway, this puzzle, I was really looking forward to doing it because it's just, I don't know, it's bright. And like I mentioned before, when something is bright, it just automatically like attracts me to it. So my prediction for this puzzle was 1 hour because it didn't seem that difficult, because it seemed like there is quite a nice clear gradient in the sky and there is a lot of different colors that, you know, it shouldn't be too bad. But there is one thing that I wasn't sure if I'm happy about, but when I did a 1000-piece high puzzle, it mainly had ribbon grit cut pieces, which is also the case with the Dixit puzzle. Like, they have variation of other shapes, but there's like maybe 20% of the puzzle, but then 80% is ribbon grit cut pieces. And genuinely, if I tell you right now, I actually forgot what type of pieces were in here, because again, I was on the phone with Donna Louise and I wasn't focusing on the puzzle that much, but it doesn't matter. Let's see how it went. One good thing about this puzzle is that the sun came out a little bit, which was definitely beneficial with the sky pieces because it was a lot easier to see the gradient. There was quite a lot of small details going all across the puzzle that was quite helpful. Like, I had the birds going across the sky, and sometimes you think that that would confuse you a little bit because you don't have a clear gradient, but it does help you with placement of the pieces as well because you know in which direction the pieces are turned. Then I eliminated all the obvious pieces, which for me were like the blue pieces. They were standing out so much. And then I realized there was so many of them, they would be just too difficult to start working on them. And this is also another puzzle where I didn't start with the frame, which is surprising. I completely forgot about that, but I didn't do the frame until I had to do the frame, which was just the bottom section when everything was green and brown. Everything up until that point, it was really easy to assemble. So it took me 1 hour, 8 minutes and 4 seconds for this puzzle, which again is 8 minutes off my prediction in the bad way, you know, up. But it's okay, I was still pleased with my time. It was still within my average, so I was quite happy with the puzzle. There is one thing again that really slowed me down, but when I eliminated all the blue pieces and started working on them, and then I got really stuck, and only that's when I decided that I'm gonna go work on the trees. So I think this is the main difference with people who are so fast, because they already predict what they need to pick or like go for small details. which is really strange because I remember last year when I was at the Worlds and I was checking when people were puzzling, and I remember I was looking at someone puzzle and I'm like, why are they leaving that for the last? Like, I would start with that, like, why are they leaving this section for the last? But that it would make sense, because if you go for smaller details, I think this is something to try for next year, because obviously this year is already, well, it's done. There's nothing more I can do. But I think I'm gonna start practicing, like, focusing on the smaller sections first as opposed to like bigger sections. I think it might be beneficial. But yeah, anyway, 14 puzzles done. Well, technically 13 because I didn't do the dragon one. But let's go through the statistics now. Okay, post-it notes. Sorry, I need them. So, let's just go through that again. So last year I had 11 puzzles done in 13 hours and 8 minutes, which got me to a total of, well, average of 1 hour and 11 minutes per puzzle. This year, now what I've done is I eliminated the forest, well, the dragon, because I couldn't put it in because I didn't actually have the time. It's not really a puzzle for speed running, like, you know, it would probably take me 2.5 hours to finish it, or even like longer. It would completely ruin the results, or not even, I don't know which word to use. It's not really ruin the results, because it's not about me wanting to get the best time. It's just, it would actually make the results wrong, because the puzzle is just so far out. It's so much more difficult that you can't really incorporate it within the rest of the puzzles, if that makes sense. Anyway, so I eliminated that puzzle. So I had 13 puzzles. Total time was 14 hours, 34 minutes and 56 seconds, which got me to an average of 1 hour, 7 minutes and 18 seconds, which means that my average went down for 4 minutes in 1 year. I'm actually really pleased with that. And obviously I don't know what type of puzzles I do, because it's like, I just do whatever comes my way. I don't really pick pictures, but it would be interesting to see, to actually maybe keep some of the puzzles and wait 1 year and redo them. Because I think in 1 year I would forget enough for that not to influence my speed when puzzling, but I would be able to see if I actually made an improvement. So that's definitely something to consider. Anyway, one more thing. I know I already said everything about that, and I know I'm just repeating myself, but the fact is, it's Monday today and the competition starts tomorrow. Everyone's probably already in Spain, whoever's in Spain. So remember that. Obviously it's empty because I already, you know, put the puzzle in the bag. I'm not taking the box with me. So if you see me come to get a piece, you know, we need to get them signed. It's gonna be cute. So don't forget, if you see me anywhere, just come and be like, Janette, I want to sign your piece. So yeah, don't forget to do that. Oh, I can't wait to see all of you. Okay. Exciting. See you soon. Bye.